I'm Sergio Chavez with ilovegoogleads.com, and you're listening to the Pursue Vegas podcast.
The idea of Pursue Vegas was to really highlight the local people that really make Vegas, Vegas.
I love that aspect of how these visionaries are actually bringing people together.
When we hit record, our responsibility is to connect the people of our city so we can show the world who we really are. Perfect.
Nice.
One more time, the exact same way, only this time you'll just say, and this is Pursue Vegas.
Okay.
We're going to use that for a different clip.
I'm Sergio Chavez with ilovegoogleads.com, and this is the Pursue Vegas podcast.
Well, this time no podcast.
Okay.
And this is Pursue Vegas.
Okay.
You're good.
I'm Sergio Chavez with ilovegoogleads.com, and this is Pursue Vegas.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
We ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want your glasses on just there because there is a bit of a glare.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Do you want him to redo
No,
the
that's fine.
Perfect.
intro?
I mean,
yeah,
I'm just
let's
being on brand.
redo it.
That's usually.
We'll
the
redo
whole
both
thing?
of those real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Go
which
for it.
one was it first?
Oh, yeah. This is Sergio Chavez, and you're listening to the Pursue Vegas podcast,
Okay.
but with your title. Yeah.
This is Sergio Chavez from ilovegoogleads.com, and you're listening to the Pursue Vegas podcast.
Boom. Love it.
Okay.
And then one more with
And this
just
Pursue
this
Vegas.
is Pursue Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Sergio Chavez with ilovegoogleads.com, and this is Pursue Vegas.
Boom.
Cool.
We good?
Boom.
Perfect.
Everybody rolling? Here we go. Action. All right. Welcome back to the Pursue Vegas podcast. I'm your host, Dave Berlin,
And I'm your co-host, Honey Wynn.
and I am definitely excited. You just met Sergio, but
I did.
I've known Sergio for quite some time. So grateful to have him on the show today. Sergio, what's up, buddy?
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm grateful to be here. This is an amazing setup that you guys have here, and I'm very honored.
Well,
that
you-
you
Welcome
invited
to
me.
our crib.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
welcome to our cribs.
We'll take the full credit for it.
Yeah, right. We will take the full credit. We just white labeled
Unless
the whole
Trevin
studio.
just walks in right now and be like, oh, shit.
Feel like we're already signing the lease. No, thanks for coming on. We've known each other for a while, and I'm so grateful that you're here. But I started seeing you pop up in a different way that I had not seen before. If you've clicked on a Google ad, there's an 85% chance that you're behind it. Right?
be, yeah.
I'm making that up.
We run over 40 companies, so...
Dang. Can you name any of those companies, or is it a secret?
Well, no, I can tell you like a few of the brands that we run. Bionic Smile. We run ads also for In Harmony Interactive. They're both big Vegas companies.
Nice.
And we run a lot
shout
of...
out to the Craig Goldberg.
Goldberg. Yeah, he
was
be
on
here.
the show. Welcome.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're crossing over now.
Nice. So yeah, we make sure that that narrative gets across to you. So once you hit our ecosystem with I Am in Harmony, they have a lot of content. So we get you to see all their content, and the sales are amazing right now for a $5,000 product. You're getting $10 back for every dollar in advertising. So that's pretty cool.
Wow. Now, how long have you been doing that? Because I feel like it's been for a while.
Oh my God, ads. So the story back, I've been in digital marketing since 2008. In the recession back then, I lost everything. And then a friend of mine just told me there's this thing called WordPress and web design. So I started learning web design. I actually went to UNLV for a small little degree. I would tell like, Dave, I'll build your website if you pay for my class. So I took myself through school just like that, and I was building websites, and one after the other, and learned about YouTube channels before they were a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also I started doing SEO because of people that had the websites. They're like, I want to show up and whenever somebody looks for insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my big claim to fame was that I brought up auto insurance. That is a very competitive company, Auto Insurance Las Vegas. A website at the time, it was Estrella Insurance. They don't exist anymore, but it was an amazing feat, right? They were making over $1 million a year from that website, and I didn't even know I was getting paid like peanuts for it. And I learned the power of the internet, right? Because I overheard a conversation about how much sales I was generating. I'm like, it's leverage, just as you were saying earlier. Like, you like leverage. So I like leverage. I like moving little things that create big effects. And that's what ads do. So in 2016, I just set my line down and I decided to start just a part of ads, because I saw that's where everybody was getting rich and people had the smallest leverage for the highest results. And then, so I think I met you back in 2020, back in the pandemic.
I just moved into WeWork.
Yes.
Yeah, and we started running into each other, crossing over all the same circles, and
Correct. Yeah, and then when I decided that everything took off for me and that's all we do, we are now a team of 8 people. Nobody's here. Everybody's remote. And we have a lot of fun doing it. It's very stressful because it's the highest responsibility, right? You're putting in dollars for somebody and they're expecting to get money out, right? So that is a big responsibility. It's almost like being a doctor. I get a call at midnight and I have to take on it because it's people's money on the line.
Yeah. I love that. Now, how long have you been in Vegas, and then what brought you here?
22 years.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So you were born and raised here?
Yeah, I mean, I can say. I love the city.
Yeah,
There was always a calling for me. I've been coming here since I was 16 to take like courses on trading and stuff like that. I lived in Mexico, and I just one day, like, everything was in shambles. Ever since I was 16, 17, right now I'm 48, so what's that, 30 years ago? Is that 30 years, 20 years ago, whatever. So I came, I lost a whole bunch of money from my family that I was investing in the stock market back then when it was the new thing, the online thing, and I thought I was such a genius, like 19 years old, and turned doubled 150,000. Like, I took it up to like 500,000 and then lost it all, right? And then my mom died around 2000, and it was just my dad and my brother and me, and we're all depressed in the house, and I was always having the entrepreneurial spirit, and I started reading books on real estate and passive income and all that stuff, and I said, well, this is not happening in Mexico, because I go to a bank and like, I want a mortgage for a house, and like they're like, we buy things cash back there. Back then there were no mortgages. Now there are in Mexico, but there was like, so I didn't. I said I gotta move to the States, and I just took off, drove. In northern Mexico, we get visas very easily because we come and buy a lot of stuff in the border. So I just crossed, and I just came to Vegas. I found a couple of mentors that were doing real estate to learn from them, and that's how I ended up here, right? I just drove in, and the first thing I came out, and it was just a P.O. box. Like, their address was P.O. box, and I'm like, I call them, hey, I just dropped by because, you said you were taking students, and I had $1,000 cash ready to, like, be their student. They're like, no, that's a P.O. box. So I still remember coming up in what was it, Sahara and Rainbow, somewhere around that area. And then, like, I just arrived. I just drove in with my...
One of Lisa Song Sutton's mailbox stores? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, anyways, so then I just...
Before her time.
I know. I'm just kidding.
So I come up to their door, and there it is. And that's how my Vegas adventure started.
Yeah, that's a wild-ass story.
Right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to take $1,000, drive from Mexico,
Yeah.
go to a P.O. box. Like, why aren't you a reality show?
Yeah. Now he's working on it.
Most people don't really see that behind-the-scenes stuff on how people get started in such a humbling journey. So thank you for joining us in this scene. And it's funny because if you hear you run Google Ads, but then your real journey began because you had a curiosity in real estate, like, you can't put two and two together because of where you're at now and how you actually first got started and what drawn you to the city. It's two completely different things. So tell us a little bit about how real estate and coming to Vegas has transpired over 22 years of you being here, and now you're running Google Ads for many of the businesses in this town.
Okay. So I got here, and then that I'd rent a room out, and what I was doing at the time, I remember there was this, you could do online casinos and they would give you bonuses, and I would create like all these identities and they would give you 100 for 100, right? And then I would, like, you had to gamble it like 4 times. So I figured out a way to lose very little and get the bonuses. So that's how I was making a living. Wow. And my mentors were telling me, send out letters to, like, I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I didn't even know all the intricacies that a real estate thing takes. And they were just telling me, send out letters to distressed people, right? And I did like religiously every day. And I would like try to get deals, and I had to sit down with these people and convince them to basically lend you you take over the loan, and then you pay for whatever they
So you
had.
did the sub 2 before sub 2 became a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before Pace Morby took it over.
It was pre-foreclosure at the time. That's what they called it. So, anyways, I couldn't figure it out for crap, and they could like come in and close the deal for me and stuff like that. I'm like, there's something different about you guys. So they gave me some self-development materials in a certain school that I won't mention, but I went on a whole self-development rant because I knew I wasn't there as a person. So like I took off like 5 years to study certain self-development modalities, and yeah, I mean, no money, no nothing. I think life takes you where you need to go. Like, I came here to become a millionaire, but I realized that I had to first learn all these other things. So I went on that, and that's like 5 to 6 years of that. Then I came back and I was ready, and I could do these deals, and that's when the freaking 2008 like rug came by, right? So I lost it all. And I'm like, this personal development shit doesn't work, whatever. And then I came down and started like waiting tables, and just like, this is what an immigrant should do. So I said, that's what I should do. And but always that spark, right, came out, like, you got to do something. And then the web design thing came about, and I was at the same time as I was I wasn't even waiting tables, I was picking up plates. Not washing, there's extremes, I guess. You're a waiter, you're a washer, and then there's in the middle the guys that pick tables. So I was doing that at a Mexican restaurant here, but I was so bright and so on it that like I would correct the waiters, right? Like, no, he didn't order this, he ordered that, and whatever. And so yeah, I was limiting myself to that, and then poker came around, and I learned how to play poker. And I was making a little extra shillings on it. And then after that, I started doing the web design stuff. I started going to school, and that just took off, right? And as an immigrant, at the time, there's a lot of people don't know the struggles, right? So, for example, you can come, but there's limitations because of your immigration status, which I won't go into very much. That's all handled for me, right? But it's a big challenge for immigrants. I didn't care. I figured things out. There's ways to figure things out. Like, so it was very. It's like I didn't have a choice, right? Like, I put myself in a place where no choice. I had to make this web design thing work, because I was either picking up plates or, like, I mean, I couldn't at the time. I was in all the classes and all the networks for web design in Vegas and the Adobe groups. There's a whole bunch of groups and stuff. And we couldn't, like, I would get called from the Venetian, right? Because you start knowing people, or called from Caesars, and like, would you like to join our web design team? And I couldn't, right? And I couldn't say why, right? So, because I couldn't take like gainful employment at the time. I had to figure that out one way or another, right? So I figured it out. I just went into web design, and things just started rolling,
That's awesome. No, I mean, it's a phenomenal story, because a lot of people come here and they don't cut it. They don't make it. They don't stick around as long. They take off. Some people come back, which we've seen. We've had a few people on the show that do that. you've been dug in on the ad part and very specific to that. But where I saw you and where you started popping up again is now you've launched a podcast and you're catching some of the people here in the community as well. Tell me about the Vegas Voices podcast.
So, like, I love doing what I do. I love figuring out puzzles, right? And I started noticing that the ads game is basically a puzzle. You're figuring out human behavior and through a computer and through an interface, and you figure out what the best route is to get a message across through that. That's in very simple terms. But it's draining, man. It's draining. You know, it's stressful, it's draining. You have people's money on the line. You're figuring out these puzzles at the same time, and you just have to be on all day, right? And I love people, right? I'm an extrovert. I might seem very, very soft-voiced, but I love being out there with people, and it feeds me. It just feeds me. Having conversation feeds me. This energizes me, right? And I know, like I tell all my clients, you know, you have to make content. You have to make content, right? So then just things are rolling to like, what type of content can I make that is easy, that I can do, that feeds me, that gets me into conversation. And I decided, and I saw like people making podcasts and all that. And then I decided that that I wanted to make a podcast, but it took me a while to figure it out, because I would see, like, you know, it would be like the Dave Berlin podcast, right? But who the fuck cares who Dave Berlin is? Nobody, right? And I would see the podcast after podcast fail. So I decided to, one day after going through a long sauna session, it came to me, so you got to create a frame. And I think a podcast has a better chance of succeeding if it has a frame, like you guys here. Pursue Vegas, right? So I ChatGPT'd it and came up with ideas, and then you know Vegas Voices podcast, VVP. It's super easy. It rolls off the tongue, and you know we came up with the idea, and then I said I'm just gonna go to people in their environment, people that are building the city. Like I think the tagline is interviewing the city's greatest, big ideas, local agents. Right. So that's what I'm doing. Right. And I'm just doing it for the pursuit of content and building a personal brand. I don't have really an agenda, a monetary agenda for it. You know, I'm actually funding the thing myself. And right now the goal is to just interview 100 good people from the city. And I don't care. They're coming. We're like at 15 right now.
Nice.
And I think it's very similar to what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
But our difference is it's more NPR-ish, it's more street. Like if you see every episode, it's a different location. You see people walking back. So that's the flavor of it. And I'm learning a lot, man. There's a lot to this conversation, cameras, everything. And you only get it by doing it, right?
Yeah.
There's things that I'm seeing on episode 15 that I couldn't see on episode 1.
Yeah.
I love that. How long did it take you from idea to execution? Because you said in the beginning of the show, you're like, my goal is to do 100, and you're at 15 already, so you're 15% in.
Yes.
But you said right before that you had an idea. So I'm assuming you probably wrote it down. You know,
I guess it took a year to think about it, right? Maybe. But once I decided, it's like, I mean, producer is here, Ivan, and I just wrote a big check and decided, and then the next week we were already rolling and doing stuff. I got a few cameras, a few DJIs, just that you can put anywhere, and then Ivan got a third camera, and we got decent lighting that we can take anywhere, and we just go to them. It's been a very cool experience.
I love it. I resonate with this so much. Not just the immigrant thing, because I was an immigrant until I was in my 20s too. Yeah, grew up also in the back of restaurants, like cleaning dishes and all of that stuff, making things work. And then when I started my original show, I was mobile, but nobody understands the whole grind and the process it takes to produce just one episode. So yeah, like if you see my show, I was like in like 8 different environments in like 15 episodes.
No.
So I'd be here, I'd be at a cigar room. I'd be like, so that really stress test the process that had to be in place on the AV side, the camera, my one camera guy, which is also my editor, which is also my workflow, before I understood how much time it took from just 1 hour of content to like 5 hours to actually work on producing the episode to launching it to distribution. That's why I'm curious on how, because we're doing all pretty much the same thing, except we have help from the studio. Because if we had to set this up every day, my setup time was almost as long as the recording time, because I would have to drive the thing somewhere, carry it in, have the ring lights. I didn't have fancy equipment. I had 3 cameras, which, I got stuff off of Amazon, so I went through that whole entire thing, had my Rhodes thing fail, had audio fail on me, had like sound bounce because I didn't know what sounded like. So 3 episodes, it was so echoing. It's just testing the process. I didn't know what mics to get, where to put it. Things would rub. So, you know what I mean? And you have to pay for people to edit it out. So
When was
it's
this?
crazy.
When was these? Was it? What time was it?
2023.
2023. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, technology is going super fast. There's so many things. Like the DJIs are a blessing. I love them. They're just super little, and you just set them up, and boom.
I got the Roadcasters before that came out, and I'm like, damn it.
Right, and then even if you have decent sound now, we just have right now we'll work on getting some of these mics, but some setups don't favor it, so we use the little lapel that just connects, and then that connects wirelessly. And dude, like a year ago, there wasn't the Adobe podcast tool. Now you can make it. If you have half decent sound or decent sound, you just pass it through AI, and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's so many things. There's so many things now that you can do. And like I said, I don't know. I just decided it's like my inspiration. Just like I follow my intuition, and I just go all in on it. It is a process. It takes years, I guess, for me in my lifetime, in this iteration of person that I am. It took a few years to figure out that you just go with your intuition. And that's like, it was shouting at me like, do 100 episodes. This is what you're going to call it. This is what you do. And just,
nice.
I don't know where it's going to take me, but I envision like being like a Dana, like dropping in the UFC or with the mayor, right?
Yeah.
Or with any local celebrities. And it's open. It's not just business. I think business owners are fantastic because they're building the city. But there's other people building the city, right? So
Absolutely.
we're gonna go and see whomever comes across our camera, we're gonna do it, and they get a lot of. One of the things about the evolution of things is people don't realize the kind of work that it takes for their little dopamine hit that they get from a 15-second reel, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's diluting down to. Our Instagram is blowing up, and it's a lot of those little reels, those little payoff moments. People, I mean, it's either people go like the whole long form or just reels. I think that's where content is right now, right? So.
And the whole ad game is changing too, from Meta to, when we talk about like back end SEO, everything's changing in the marketing perspective. Like organic is less organic now because everything is driven so fast.
Yes.
And you said something that was also amazing is like, yeah, you're on episode 15 and you lean into your intuition. So thank you for following your intuition to sit down at a table with us, because it feels like we're aligned in the mission that we're going. We're going towards the same way. It doesn't mean we have to take the exact same path. Like you're going to hit your bumps. We've hit our bumps, definitely, even in studio, off studio. There's a lot that goes into producing a show and just bringing on people, with genuine voices that, kind of like you said, without an agenda to want or seek anything out of it except just to do it from an altruistic point. But at the end of the day, it's just, this is the path that we decided to go on. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great opportunity to build relationships, right? Because I did a podcast. Tawny had one before too. The one I did was back during pandemic. It was called the Dave Means Business Podcast.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it was great. I was able to interview some of my favorite authors, speakers from all over the country, but it's because everybody was virtual. Even still to this day, I had no agenda as far as like there was no offer at the end. I wasn't doing the ads about, do you know about these incredible sheets? Like, I didn't do any of that. It was the A1 greens or whatever. I didn't do any of the ad stuff or affiliates. I just had the interview. The call to action was connect with the person I interviewed, learn about them.
Yes.
What's interesting is out of the 24, 25 episodes that I did, like, I still do business with like 4 of those people. And like, one of them's bringing a big project here. 5 years later, they're bringing an event here to Vegas. And then for this, like when we started the Pursue Vegas podcast, season 1, we had great conversations with people. We sent some of them this way over to the studio. But we've shot 20 episodes as of today's recording here in this studio. Not one of those has aired yet because, as of this recording, but we've already made connections and built like alliances between so many of the guests that we've had, because once you really sit down and get to have the conversation with people, you learn a little bit more about them. And it's either something in their story or something that sparks them to talk about their business in a different way, or one little aha, and it's like, oh my gosh, you got to meet so-and-so who was just on the show. And then we start connecting those dots to what people need.
Yeah, there's so many effects that this type of thing can have, even if you're at low views. I think, first of all, there's a couple of principles that I like to mention. One is outflow equals inflow. And the other one is, if you give light to others, the light's going to shine on you, right? So whenever, we're outflowing, outflow. You guys are outflowing. You never know that the principle doesn't say where it's going to come from, right?
Exactly.
Right? Or if it's or the how or the form.
Yeah.
It can be monetary. It can not be monetary. It can be a person, a connection, anything, right? And then giving light to others just gives just light to you. You cannot avoid it. So I think those 2 principles are in play here. Very much so.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like I've always said, when I talk about networking versus prospecting, you've heard me talk about that before. It's like networking isn't about getting the next paycheck or invoice. Networking is about unlocking infinite opportunities with every person you meet. And that could come in any form, and it could come a year from now, 3 years. I met Trevin, who runs the studio, 5 years ago. And because I wasn't a dick and I didn't try to sell him on coaching at the time, like that always stuck. And then here we are 5 years later, we're working on, ways to, open up more studios that he sees in the future, stuff like that. And it's just funny because if I would have tried to sell him 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't
Well, Mike Kim says it best too. Like, I still paraphrase our favorite friend author is, networking is just a way to open a new relationship. That's it.
Yeah.
You just open it up, you see what happens, right? It's just, I think people seem to make it very transactional and it's a numbers game. It definitely is. There's velocity in sales. There's obviously, like with ads, it's volume. Where there's volume, there's volatility. Like volatility is bound to happen. So that's all like natural for us, but with relationship is very sensitive and it's very intimate. So the easier for us, like when you say shine light on people, we lean into darkness as well. Yeah. So that we allow people to speak their truth. Because there's a lot of topics on this show that I don't think people have ever spoken about some of their stories before. And it's about being intimate enough to make people feel comfortable enough to just allow that to, to open that up for other people. And that's what we're here for. That's just the space for it. It's not like we're here to interrogate you. Like, tell me your deepest fears.
Right. Well, you alluded to that too, pre-flight, pre-show checklist, right? We were talking about just a couple things. You mentioned biohacking as one of the things that you're really into. And in a way, you kind of alluded to it when you start talking about the light and stuff like that and just like how we show up in the world. Go off on that, man, because I know you're probably reading are you reading anything cool right now? Are you following any other podcasts or anything that get you jacked to go out and tackle 100 episodes?
Man, I don't know. I'm just one of the things that I've that's been very, very lately top of mind is just being present in the moment and just existing into, right? There's so many avenues that I can go in here. Right now, like I'm rereading Reality Transurfing. It's one of my favorite cornerstone books. That one,
What was it called?
Reality Transurfing.
Okay.
And it talks about the concept. There's one major concept, which is importance, right? Importance, like, makes you hang into things, and then when you hang into things, they squeeze your energy out of you, and that's completely true. It's not woo-woo. It's not anything.
I'm all about the woo-woo.
Right.
That's just
The
me.
law of
I mean-
attachment type of thing.
Yeah, any attachment, anything. So, but in this particular book, the name, the semantics of it is called importance, right? So one of the things that I try to do that I'm like into, that I've been like super habitual, is dropping importance. So I whenever I meditate, I sit down, have 10 minutes. I go into my past and see whatever I'm giving importance to, or anything in my past that like catches my attention. Drop the importance. Like, drop the importance. I don't know how to better explain it, but just drop
the
importance,
cords.
right? And then it just gives you the energy to be present and just drop into the present, into whatever you're doing, right? You only have today. You only have now, like, literally. You can have big goals, but it only comes down to this minute. So I mean, in biohacking, woo-woo land, whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm into right now a lot. On books, I'm reading the Sedona method. It's a very old school method of. It's another way of dropping importance, is you letting go, right? The principle is to let go of whatever bothers you, of your past. Let go. Just let go, right? I recommend reading it. It's a very, very simple thing. It's a very, very simple process, but, like, some things just you can learn in a minute and take a lifetime to master it, right? It takes 5 minutes to learn and a lifetime to master. What else am I into? Man, I'm into a lot of stuff. I don't know, Dave. If you want to go into specifics, like a morning routine or whatever, you just ask me.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of things. I was realizing it the other day with my producer. We're like making some reels, and it's like, dude, I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so morning
like-
routines can be good, but it sounds like you pull some in the middle of the day. Like, do you do it like? Is there something that triggers that where you're like, oh, I should, why is this coming up? And then do you kind of just stop and reset, or is it something where if you're about to switch gears into a project or an episode or something like that?
So what I do is that I meditate. So I have 10-minute meditations, 20-minute meditations that I can just go do that. What we just talked about, and if I really need a boost physically, I go in and do breath work.
Nice.
So I follow Damon D'Amato's work. He is a local here in Vegas.
I DJ'd his wedding.
He should be here.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, we just had him as a guest too. So,
Nice.
an amazing man. So I learned he has very good compact breathwork routines, and breath just changes you like this.
It
In
does.
10 minutes you can be a whole nother person.
Can hallucinate
Yeah.
a little bit and then
Yes.
just come
With the
back
whole
into
like healing community, I think a lot of people, there's a misconception that you have to do all the modality at once, but they forget that the most important thing, which is the breath, already exists within you. So for you, the thing that stood out the most right now that I feel I resonate with is the letting go of the importance.
Yes.
And a lot of people I've spoken to in the last 1 month to 6 months, this is their season of letting go. And I think identity shift and quantum leaping, if you call that in woo-woo land, it's just letting go of like a previous identity. And a lot of people, I think, still hold on to existing identities of the past and things that they feel is significant, but is really not significant because it exists in a previous timeline. And it no longer is somebody you need to carry with you. If you're going to call it stop playing small and you want to go for somebody bigger, you have to be able to make that leap and let that go. So, in therapy, we call it baggage or something. I hate using that word, but it's kind of like to allow, one of my favorite things from Gary Truppick, he says, like, you must let death do its work in you. So people take that in such a wrong term, but whether that be ego, whether that be identity, sometimes you just got to let that thing go for you to fully form and transpire to a new shape. Or else you're just going to be like this person that's like, oh, I want to go over here, but I'm fighting my past and I'm fighting all of these things, these negativities, limiting beliefs that doesn't really add to anything. So, the season of you letting go of importance or things of the past is kind of like what I call subtracting. Just very simple. It's like, this needs to be where I need to be.
Correct. Everything is semantics, Truth is truth. Things exist in the universe, and at the end of in a programmable way. We're in a simulation. I've heard it. I think it proves itself all the time. The simulation has rules, and you can call it importance, you can call it the past, you can call it Thelma, whatever you want. But everybody has their way of figuring these things out, right? And we're all in a journey, and it's just you do whatever you want with your simulation. It's your GTA 5.
Yeah,
literally.
I love it. Well, I love when all the intersections happen, right? And there's these little just nods from the universe that are like, "Yep, this is exactly where we're supposed to be," or it's like there's somebody starts a conversation about the same book, right? Or that I'm reading, and it's like, oh, it's like follow the clues, right? Just follow the clues, and the connections really start to happen from there. And then that's what I love about Las Vegas is there's such a remarkable network of all of these incredible humans that have come from other places. And they all end up this is a great watering hole for a lot of people have come here to heal in some way, shape, or form. And they found community in that. Like, who would have ever thought? I came here 6 years ago, and I stopped drinking over a year ago. Good. And I never would have thought in a place like Vegas, especially where I probably drank the most I've ever drank before was here in Las Vegas. But now there's a whole, not only am I on the path to not drink, but there's a whole network of people that are also sober or sober curious. That's how I met Tani.
Sober curious. I've just heard that. Yeah. Sober curious. Is that a new thing?
Are you sober curious, bro?
And people are like, "Are you California sober, Oregon sober?" And I'm like, I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm sober. They're like, oh, like not even like Denver, Colorado sober.
What?
And
Yeah. What is that? Do you just smoke meth?
yeah, like I guess some parts of the country you either smoke something, pop something, do mushrooms.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah.
Or the people that gets all high on their like trips, so they take all their alternative medicines.
Yeah.
They call themselves sober, but every weekend they check out of reality. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's sober, but it's maybe sobering to your reality.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It's still a modality to escape the presence and just, but to each his own. You got to live and let live in this town. And it's just, it's funny how now I have to define what sober is.
Yeah.
And that was the first time because I'm like, oh, I'm told you're sober. They're like, what kind of sober? I'm like, is there a different kind of sober I don't know about?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, it takes time and conscience, right, to be aware of what presence is. And maybe a little bit of age sometimes to know that, for example, for me, alcohol is always a net negative. I just don't find that appealing. I'll have a drink once in a while, but still, it just reconfirms it's a net negative. The next day, because all that I want to do is be able to perform in life, be here, be present, and do whatever I'm doing and doing to the utmost of my ability, right? And then I always notice that alcohol is a net negative. I know that the next 24 hours, it's just going to be, I'm going to not be I'm not going to be fooling myself. And that's just what it is. It's a common sense type of thing that it's not that there's a need or I want to be sober or not. It's just you realize to a point that happens. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's just one challenge I think that people face when they're here. As we kind of wrap and close, you've been here for a while now.
Yes.
What do you see as the biggest challenge in the community of Las Vegas? More so like the entrepreneurial ecosystem, right? Because you've worked with lots of different entrepreneurs. You've been involved in groups, organizations. I see you at lots of events. We all show up. We all serve in our own way. Right now, as we have all of these new industries starting to collide here with Hollywood 2.0 coming and things like that, what do you see as the biggest challenge for Vegas?
Man, that's interesting. I'd love to have Mark on the
right?
Are you gonna have him? Yeah.
Yeah, but we're already in the works, right?
Vegas.
Mark Wahlberg, right?
Mark Wahlberg.
You can't call him Marky Mark because he will punch you in the face.
I don't want to cease and desist for this episode. God damn it.
Yeah, we're going to take that off. Go ahead and take that one off, Greg. I'm just kidding.
Just leave it on. Let's stir the pot.
I guess.
Maybe it's good if he sends us a cease and desist.
Yeah, right.
Connection and help, man. Like, I think that would be the best thing. More people that are off the treadmill so they can contribute because I understand the hustle. I've been through it, and it's people have to go through the hustle to be able to free themselves to be able to contribute a little bit, right? Go up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. My God, it's just such what are the challenges, man, for all these entrepreneurs in the city as it is? I don't know, man. It's just
Well, I'll flip that on
right.
its head. If you could wave a magic wand, what's one thing that you would really like to see here in the community in the next 5 years?
Jeez, man. I love Vegas the way it is. With its
A water park? You don't want a water park?
I don't know.
one in
A water
Henderson.
park? I don't know. Isn't Disney coming? Are we gonna have studios? What else did I see? A big Mormon temple somewhere.
Universal Studios coming.
Yeah, that'll be all great. I mean, I had a dream a while ago when I came here, and I was overseeing the city, and I remember like seeing big skyscrapers, like 20 million people city.
We'll start building up.
Right. I know something is going to be there. I've had that vision. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I think this place will keep growing and expanding. There's some sort of special energy that brings people here. And I notice it like in the weather. Our weather is becoming less cold in the winters and a little less hot in the summers. I don't know. I notice it. And it's global warming is like favoring Vegas. I don't know why. That's my perception, right? As I've lived here 22 years, I've seen the weather changes. It's becoming a bit greener. So, yeah, becoming a bit greener. And the acceptance of, I mean, we have the dark side. Yeah, there's the strip and there's all that crazy stuff. But, you know, that brings in a lot of other energy that's getting transmuted and becoming other industries and things that contribute to humanity. So I don't know. I love Las Vegas. I've always felt a calling for this town. And I think this is my base. I'm going to start traveling a bit more and stuff. But I like Las Vegas. It is.
If you had one piece of advice for people that were looking at coming out this way, for whatever reason, what piece of advice would you give people to show up?
Just be willing to show up and serve. I think nobody here cares where you're from, how much money you have. That has been my experience and perception. Wherever I've put myself and I've shown competence, nobody has cared if I'm an immigrant, if I'm Mexican, if I'm short, if I look somehow or another, or if I have an accent. As long as I've shown competency and given my end of the bargain to others, this town has been very welcoming to me. And I don't know if that happens in other places in the States, but it seems to be a melting pot. And I mean, we're a melting pot right here. Like we're all different
At this table.
and we, you know, I don't know, there's no exclusion. I think we're a very inclusive. If you're willing to put in, to keep your word and put in, which it's even a low bar these days. There's a lot of people that are very flaky, but if you're willing to get out of the flake and just put your money where your mouth is and provide give what you're promising, I think this town has a lot to offer to anybody.
Yeah, it's been said many times, do what you say you're going to do, and everything else just comes together.
Right. But in certain places, there's certain elitism. If you know, certain segregation or stuff. Here you're welcome anywhere, I think.
Completely off the rails.
Yes.
But the next time we do a podcast together, are we going to be in a cold plunge?
Why not? Yeah.
Dude, that'd be fucking awesome.
We can.
For sure.
We have the technology.
Cold plunge. I think Tim Ferriss was doing one in a barrel sauna, and they would go out to the cold plunge in barrel sauna, and they would.
We should do one at Damon's. Did you shoot at his place?
Yes, we did.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a cool little.
Does he
He's
have
got
a
a cool
sauna?
space. Yeah.
Yeah, there's sauna and there's cold plunge. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, man, dude, it's been great having you. So thank you for sharing everything. Where can people find you? It's in the show notes as well, but where can people get connected, get plugged in, and where do they start?
Cool. So my main Insta, which is right now my main communication, at Sergio Chavez LV. And then the Vegas Voices podcast. It's also, the Instagram is the entry gate to it. We have it on YouTube, but it's the Vegas Voices podcast. What else? I love GoogleAds.com is my company. Anything that has to do with digital marketing, we're becoming more of a CMO type of chief marketing officer type of way, because I have like this way of seeing marketing as a matrix. So I come in and I can see everything, and not only ads. I can orchestrate other pieces, right? And then what else? That would be it. Yeah.
It's been great
I love
having you.
GoogleAds.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
calm
I
and
appreciate it.
collected, very grounded presence.
Did you meditate before you walked in?
Usually Dave is on the roof right now,
Yeah.
but
No, I
you've
didn't.
managed to keep him at this table.
Right. Yeah.
I actually had a very long sauna session last night, and I'm super chill. So-
Yeah. I love it.
And I just got up directly to come here. So
I love it.
No, almost. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
I'm
guys.
excited to be in. I'm still thinking about the cold plunge sauna thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It's like, how are we going to structure that? But anyways.
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
Well, guys, that's it for us today. Thanks for tuning in. Please reach out, slide into all of our DMs, Dave, I's, or Sergio's. We look forward to hearing from you. Maybe the next time we'll be on the street in a sauna or cold plunge somewhere. So reach
Absolutely.
out. Let us know how we can connect you with anybody in our community or his. Tap into his network. Come on his show. Find him on the street. Let's
Yeah.
get tacos.
Yeah.
Let's get
Tacos.
And the idea of Pursue Vegas was to really highlight the local people that really make Vegas Vegas.
I love that aspect of how these visionaries are actually bringing people together.
When we hit record, our responsibility is to connect the people of our city so we can show the world who we really are.